Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors and Winston Chester. So glad to hear this Tuesday morning. Got a great show lined up. We got a special guest here in the studio. But first, our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center at the corner of Baldwin and Highway 77. Today's high is only going to be 87 and low 73. And water temperature is staying around 82 degrees. Okay, I don't have the river readings this morning, but we do have the tide chart. Take a look at our tide chart. It is really a strong tide. All week long, we're looking good on tides. We have a high tide this morning at 9:14 is going to be the high tide, and low tide at 7:13, and a really strong movement, and you're really going to be sort of going out most of the day. But if you want to fish that early morning high tide, this is the week to do it. So it's going to be some good catches, and we've got a full moon coming up soon, and we're going to be really catching a lot of fish. Marine forecast out of the south at about 5 to 7. The river readings, like I say, the chocolate hatch is high, and the Appalachian Coast is in pretty good shape, so it's going to rise up a little bit. But tomorrow I'll have the readings for you, exactly what we want to look at. All right, let's take this break here, and we'll be right back with our guest. All right, welcome back, and welcome to a familiar face, Ken Fairmore.
A little bit different looking, but
look at the uniform.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
And I'm not calling him captain anymore. I guess you always are, though. But
I still get called captain.
Okay, yeah, I guess that'll stick with
you. It'll work.
I'm not really coaching after school anymore, but people still call me coach. So
right.
I understand. And well, listen, we told you we'd get you back on, but pretty soon, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, we did. What happened was in the last few weeks, I got approached with another group of guys here in Bay County and friends and coworkers, and we ended up meeting with a National Wild Turkey Federation representative 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And the thought was to start a Bay County or Panama City chapter of the NWTF, which would be part of the Florida State chapter in the same organization. And I gave it a little thought, and it was kind of a little quick to jump into something right at retirement or right after retirement, but what a better time to at least entertain it. And so we met with a representative, and we kind of heard, and he doesn't give a sales pitch. You know, he comes in and he says, and he represents all the chapters in the Southeast, I believe it is. And he says, it doesn't make any difference to me or us. You all have to want to do this, and it's here if you want it. Florida State chapter is pretty strong and pretty active. There's also some really active chapters in Alabama. And so he kind of gave us the how to get started in forming a local chapter. And apparently, years ago, there was a chapter here in Bay County that, for whatever the reasons were, and I don't know them, dissolved. So Stan Kirkland and myself and Jerry Shores, and we're going to probably recruit as many people as we can to get together, and we're going to do it tonight. And we're going to further discuss. The rep is coming back. He just gave us the preliminary nuts and bolts of how to, and it's basically to enhance membership, fundraise, and get people who are interested and involved in the wild turkey and its preservation, which comes pretty much from turkey hunters, or at least people who own land. We're going to further talk tonight about how to form the chapter, what has to be done. What he did tell us was the first thing you have to do is form a committee or your little governing board, and it's normally from, he said, 5 to 7 people. Some chapters have more, some have less, but you know, to do things democratically, you know, you kind of form this committee. You come up with, I guess, with a name of the chapter, and kind of get it kicked off then.
Well, I know it's a great organization, and we're going to talk a little bit about the organization, but I know here in Panhandle, there's a couple. I know there's a strong one over there in Calhoun, Liberty County, that I've I've been to that one this past year, and got a nephew in it, and actually 2 nephews in it. And they're very active, and it's just a great organization. All they do is good things.
They've done a lot over the years, and there's also another active one in Holmes County.
Holmes County, I was going to mention them. I've heard of them, and that's really good.
Actually, they, were really a part of kicking off the restoration up there with FWC years ago.
You will not have it in turkeys in Holmes County if not for
No, we would still be where they were, and there was a time, as you know, that they couldn't find a turkey in Holmes County.
Well, you were telling me before we came on air, the NWTF started in 1973.
And believe it or not, I joined,
Did you really?
And I was a member in the first year, and my memberships have come and gone over the years, but I do have at home my original, and maybe I'll bring it next time.
That's cool.
My original certificate but anyway, NWTF started in 1973, and they figured they had about 1.5 million turkeys in the country about that time, and 40 years later, they're touting almost 7 million turkeys.
Yep.
And it has to do with people getting involved, habitat, saving habitat, improving habitat is another thing I read about on their webpage. Was you can have thousands of acres of woods, but if you don't manage it the right way to have the kind of habitat that turkeys like to live in and reproduce in, you still won't have them. They don't like it really thick. They like open places, which has to do with mowing and mulching and making fields and trimming the understory. So that's what they like. And so you can have a lot of acreage, but you have to have the right kind of acreage to really have good turkey populations. And that's the biggest problem with turkey management and populations is loss of habitat. It's not from predators, and it's not from poachers. It's primarily from loss of or ill-managed habitat that exists. Predators play a part. I read that raccoons and possums were the biggest predators, and coyotes, dogs, just about anything that scavenges will, if they find a turkey nest or can catch a poult, they will. But it's primarily coons and possums and crows, believe it or not.
I didn't know the crows were a bad problem.
Crows were bad about it, and especially during that nesting period, which is about 28 days. So, got to improve the habitat. You got to get people involved. That's what they did in Holmes County. They improved habitat. They reintroduced turkeys, and it's all about trying to preserve something and have it for future generations. We've lost hunters. 10% of the population, I think, in the country is hunts.
Yep.
So there's no funding. If you only have that kind of people that participate in that kind of sport, you don't have funding that goes with it.
And you don't have a voice in Washington.
You don't have a voice.
That's a big thing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we're not a big lobbyist.
So we're going to meet and talk about starting a chapter, and as soon as we find out if we're going to, number one, and number two, what we're going to do to kick it off. The rep told us last time that one of the first things that you do is you hold a banquet.
Okay.
You shoot for the banquet maybe late summer, early fall. So we're looking maybe August or September, which is a membership drive basically. You find a venue, you get it catered. NWTF will come in with auction, auction items and hold the part that funds the fundraising for auctions, and then you kind of include a membership with the dinner, and the ticket prices, and hopefully you not only gain membership, but you increase funding, which goes to the part of the state chapter system with NWTF. So obviously we'll learn more after tonight and which way we want to go. But that's kind of where we are.
Okay, that sounds really good. Again, it's one of these things that you're doing good things for people and good things for wildlife. And think about it, and we'll keep you posted, keep you in tune with what's going on, how the meeting turned out and all. And if you're interested in all, we'll start telling you how you can join and about the banquet and all. So
we have a lot of turkey hunters in Bay County.
We do, and we have some good ones.
And I think uniting again. Obviously, they were united before, but whatever happened, it dissolved. But getting them together, and it'd be good camaraderie and fellowship as well.
Oh, sure will. It'll be a lot of fun. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back if we can. Okay, sitting here with Ken Paramore, a man of leisure now, he's enjoying his retirement days and all, but already got a project going. I admire that, and I've always heard that when you retire, you got to just keep on
keep
trucking.
you busy.
Yeah. So
I do have a couple more tidbits before we get off turkeys real quick, because I did some research last night, and I feel like I want to share. But I did learn a couple things that I didn't know after all my years of being, around them and hunting them and whatever. But it takes a hen turkey 2 weeks to lay her clutch of eggs.
Okay.
You would have thought that would have been sooner than that, but over a 2 week period, they find their place. Nobody knows why and how they find their place that they like, but they'll lay an egg and then they'll leave and go feed. And they come back and they'll lay an egg, and they'll come back and lay an egg, which you would think the first eggs would spoil before. But anyway, over a 2 week period, they lay between 9 and 13 eggs. And once she gets that last egg laid, she comes, and that's when the nesting starts, the incubation starts.
Okay.
So in the meantime, those eggs are sitting there when she's out feeding and foraging and whatever during the days. As she keeps adding to the clutch, those eggs are there vulnerable to predators and cold weather and rain. But anyway, 9 to 13 eggs in 2 weeks. Once she starts incubating them, it takes about 28 days for them to incubate. So she's on them then for 28 days. And only 10 to 40% hatch. So less than half hatch. And only 25% make it past 4 weeks after they hatch. So you're talking 9 to 13 eggs, less than half hatch. So you're hatching 5, 6, 7, and then only out of that, 25% of those make it beyond 4 weeks of age. So you're out of a clutch, you're probably talking 2 turkeys might go on, and that's one year. They don't do it more than once a year. It's a wonder that the population can increase with that kind of low, seems like low mortality to me, or high mortality. But anyway, but the biggest threats are loss of habitat, predators, as we mentioned, and cold and wet weather during the spring.
Now, you don't think about that in the springtime, but it does have an effect.
But I guess if you figure during incubation, if she's trying to nest and she has to go feed at some points, I guess, and then if a flood comes, or a lot of rain, or if you get really cold weather, it's going to be detrimental. So anyway, turkey tidbits.
Okay, very good stuff and all. Now, I was going to ask you if on your retirement now, you haven't been retired that long, but I know we showed a video of your retirement party and all, and it was really nice.
It was awesome.
It was really a perfect one.
It was really special.
And you were so kind enough to bring actually the gift that was given to you.
I did.
That was special.
I felt I wanted to share. I didn't know, and I don't work for Henry Firearms, so but my friends and coworkers and everybody who either attended or wished to contribute got together and bought this Henry lever action law enforcement commemorative 22 caliber rifle, and it is probably, and I'm prejudiced because it's mine now, but it's probably the most beautiful firearm that
it is.
I know I've ever owned.
And it has a motto on it over there. It says to protect and, let's see, right here.
Protect and to serve.
To protect and to serve, carved in right
and
here.
It's got engraving on the receiver.
Yeah.
It's got the American flag. It has angel wings. It has a badge.
Yeah.
Our American eagle. But
well, have you fired it yet?
No. As you can see, it still has the tags hanging on it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I will. I probably will, but I was blown away, obviously. Yeah. But once I got to looking at Henry's Firearms online, they have a complete line of commemorative rifles that they make particularly for professions, whether it be military, fire, the American West, the American farmer. I think there's one for truckers, and they've all been made and designed as a commemorative tribute to, you know, that walk of life.
Yeah.
And
well, their motto is "Made in America" or "Not made at all."
not made at all. So they're made here.
Yeah.
And that's something I'll treasure, you know,
Yeah.
obviously forever, and hopefully my kids will after me. But a sincere thank you to all those who participated and contributed, and it was a pleasure
special.
to see you and Gail there.
It was just a special time. One thing, the weather was just great too, but more importantly, what a great camaraderie of folks.
It was. I saw guys that I hadn't seen in 10 or 15 years.
It means a lot to you for them to take their time to come to something like that.
And there was guys there that I started with 35 years ago that work in different parts of the state still now, and we keep in touch, but I was able to see them. But in the show that you did to put on your show as a highlight reel of that day, you know, with you and Gail there was pretty awesome.
Well, Gail gets all the credit for editing that and putting it together. I'm always doing this kind of stuff, and she's always, be still, go slower, and you know,
Right.
But she does a great job here, but it was a great subject area to work with and all.
It was a lot of fun.
Okay. We're going to take a final break. We'll come back and talk to Ken about what he's doing on his bucket list and how much progress he's made on that. Be right back. All right, welcome back. First of all, let's take a look at a fishing game forecast today brought to us by Mark Coward of Edgewater Beach Realty, 832-6000. We're looking right here in the middle of the day now, 12:47 to 2:47 right there. And then right past midnight, 12:20 a.m. to 2:20 a.m. That's two really good times to go, and right about 40-50% chance of rain, so take a chance if you get opportunity. Now, let's talk real quick about things you've been doing, and because I know folks are some people are getting ready to retire, some are retired, and now you've joined the retirement ranks. So what have you been enjoying doing?
Well, I haven't enjoyed it, but my first big project at home was I redid my sprinkler system. My automatic sprinkler system, the controller had quit, the valves had quit, it wasn't working.
That's on that honey-do list.
It was.
That's good.
And we hadn't had any rain in a month, and so the yard needed it, so I said, okay, I'm going to tackle something that's pretty important right now. So I redid my sprinkler system at home. I've been trying to fit in a little bit of honeydews and you know, stuff around the house with recreating.
Yeah, you're on a balance in life.
Yeah, not just work on one thing all the time. So what I haven't had a chance to do yet, because we were out of town this weekend, and then the weekend before, as everyone knew, the Memorial Weekend, it blew so hard. Red snapper's on the top of that recreational list, but I haven't had a chance to go yet because of either weather or, like I said, being out of town this past weekend. I was in South Florida to a birthday deal. But snapper's going to be it when I, after today, obviously. And we do have, I want to fish some of the sandhill ponds, and I want to learn some of those up around Econfina. They've been catching a lot of nice brim and bass up there, I understand. I've been toying with the idea of getting back into some camping, some short trips, state parks and management areas and stuff around the Panhandle, just weekend deals, or actually not weekend deals, but weekday deals. Not sure if I'm going to dive into that yet. And of course, the big bucket list is I'd love to go to Alaska. I want to go out west and take in, Yosemite and Grand Tetons, some of those others out there. And never been north of Virginia, on the East Coast up north. And my wife Debbie's from Rhode Island, so I do like the seafood and the culture of New England, obviously. So we would like to take a trip to New England as well and tour that upper East Coast, Chesapeake Bay area north. So, but that's all down the road.
That's good. And now, that's a great bucket list. Very similar to what I want to do. And the thing about, but today, you still enjoy. I know you got this old Jeep. You still enjoy riding over?
I do. I've got a '79 CJ that we drive around in Bay County and down to Mexico Beach and St. Joe pretty regular, and I love to go jeeping and riding in it. It's getting a little bit warm for that now, but it's still a lot of fun, and they don't make Jeeps like they used to.
No, they don't. And he was talking about just a lot of times we have some similarities to getting out walking in the woods.
Right. There's a couple reasons when you go to the woods and you start walking around what you're looking for. I like to collect old bottles. I like to look for old artifacts, antler sheds, places that's been eroded where you may find. Sometimes you even find a pop top off of an old can, like a Pepsi can. Well, it's aluminum pop top, but our kids today don't know about those, and they stopped doing those in the 70s.
Amazing.
When every aluminum can had a pop top that was tossed somewhere.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, well, what did that come off of, and what was that person doing when you found it? But there are two things about walking around, especially this time of year, and I learned it the hard way just a few weeks ago, was snakes, red bugs, and ticks.
Yep.
And believe it or not, my wife and I were walking through the woods just a month ago, and I don't know how I didn't step on him, but there was about a 4 to 5 foot diamondback coiled up next to the bottom of the edge of a trail under a bush, and I had passed him within the distance of the width of this table, and I didn't see him. And why I didn't get bit, because I was in short pants and no boots. She was behind me walking, and she looked down and said, "Oh my God." And I didn't know what had happened, and I turned around and looked, and she's looking down on the ground. And I mean, he's coiled and ready to roll. He never rattled. He never made a sound. And I got a sick feeling knowing that I had just walked within inches of him, and he didn't bite me. So while you're looking for those collectibles and old bottles and arrowheads or whatever you may be looking for, look for those snakes.
Yeah, that's a great point. The thing about it, they don't always rattle either.
No, he didn't say a word.
I'm not gonna guarantee you do that. Plus, that's a big one too.
He was
They'll hit you with some force. Yeah. Well, do be careful. Ken, we got to start wrapping things up.
Glad to be back.
Thank you.
Enjoyed it today.
Thank you for coming back.
I'll be back.
And
we'll talk about turkeys some more.
We're talking about turkeys and all kind of outdoor activities, and this is the things you do when you get to retire and do stuff you love to do. So
every day Saturday.
Every day Saturday, I like that. All right, folks. Speaking of that, y'all have a great Tuesday. Enjoy your work today, whatever you're doing, and do something good for your fellow man. And God bless.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.